The United States government has concluded that the ruling Bola Tinubu-led All Progressive Congress sponsored tours to intimidate and suppress voters in Igbo-dominated areas in Lagos State during the March 18, 2023 governorship election. The U.S. Department of State disclosed this in its 2023 Country Report on Human Rights Practices, Nigeria, published on its website on Tuesday. According to the U.S. government, following the victory of Peter Obi of the Labour Party at the February 25, 2023 presidential polls, the ruling party hired tours to deny Igbo votes for Gbadebo revival in favor of incumbent Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who was then seeking a second term in office. The U.S. government stated that during the March 18 state election in Lagos, All Progressive Congress supporters reportedly intimidated and suppressed voters in Igbo-dominated areas, which Labour Party presidential candidate and ethnically Igbo Peter Obi won in the February 25th national election. Viral videos on social media show APC supporters in Ojo threatening to attack ethnic Igbo voters presumed to be pro-Obi in Etiosa. APC supporters also attacked journalists and in some cases shut down voting and prevented non-Yoruba voters from accessing polls. They similarly destroyed property and physically blocked voters in Amowo Odofin, the report alleged. The report also made reference to videos on social media showing police officers present at polling stations where electoral malpractice and violence took place, failing to respond to attacks. It added that there was no evidence to show that any of the alleged perpetrators had been arrested or prosecuted. Alright, we will come back to why the US has suddenly woken up and decided to look into Nigeria and especially the last election. Remember, I made a video about the corruption in Tinubu government that has been exposed by the US government. But before we talk about the US government, let us look at the tales of the electoral violence that was orchestrated in Lagos State. It was done in a brazen manner, in an open scale proportion. We'll come to the US government later, but let's look at the tales of violence that was orchestrated in Lagos State. The 2023 general election have come and gone, won and lost, but the scales and pains deposited in the hearts of many Nigerians linger on. The election left sordid tales of blood, tears and lasting pains, despite the assurance of security operative in Lagos made by the Commissioner of Police, Tinubu. Prior to the election, thugs like MC Oluomo have come out to threaten voters that they will be dealt with if they don't vote for the APC. The Lagos Police Commissioner dismissed the threat as a joke, but the threat was not a joke, it was a real threat. It was a brazen display of thuggery and violence as the ruling All Progressive Party unleashed violence on voters not voting for the ruling party. In Surulere, the presidential election on Saturday, February 25, 2023 came with its share of violence. Jennifer Edife was attacked at her polling unit in Surulere. Jennifer, a mother of two, went out to vote but was attacked and returned home with a battered face drenched in blood, courtesy of political toss from the All Progressive Congress (APC). However, her courage to return to her polling unit 065 in Surulere to cast her vote despite the attack and her blood-drenched face earned her huge admiration. Her case is one of the many violence that occurred during the presidential election. Bola Ahmed Tinubu lost the election in Lagos. Despite the violence and intimidation, this was an eye-opener. An open ethnic campaign was launched in Lagos as Igbos were asked to leave Lagos. Threats were released. In a bid to ensure Sanwo-Olu, like his master Tinubu, did not lose Lagos, violence in a larger proportion was unleashed on voters in Lagos. In Sanwo-Olu, it was the tragic case of 68-year-old Simon Madueke, who was killed by political toss for not voting for Sanwo-Olu. In Trade Fair, Labour Party agent Onyeka, the brother, was shot and killed by political toss. In Ojo, Austin Isurime, an agent of the Labour Party, was attacked and brutalized in his neighborhood. In Ikeja, Queen Eziog was attacked. She sustained a fracture on her arm. In Oshodi, Chidima almost lost her life while voting. She was attacked by political toss of the APC. In Ikotun, Freeman, a resident of Abariye in Ikotun, Lagos, was attacked at his polling unit. These are just little I can document here. This violence was supported by the police in Lagos as they turned a blind eye to it. The message was clear: We don't want Igbos in Lagos State. The Igbos will not be allowed to take over our land. This whole Igbo narrative was born out from the fact that Gbadebo Roosevelt, a true Lagosian, was contesting under the Labour Party. His only crime was having an Igbo mother. To date, no arrest has been made. The judiciary legalized the violence and rigging that took place in Lagos. Back to the US. I made a video yesterday how they call out Tinubu government. According to them, Tinubu government is surrounded by corrupt individuals. They specifically mentioned Atiku Bagudu, the Minister of Budget and Planning. According to them, Atiku Bagudu was convicted of crime of money laundering under Sani Abacha. He was convicted for helping Sani Abacha to launder billions of dollars from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The same Atiku Bagudu is now working for Bola Ahmed Tinubu as Minister of Budget and Planning. Now they are talking about the election violence that occurred in Lagos. What has changed from the US point of view? What has really changed? The same US turned a blind eye while the violence was going on. During the presidential election legal process, they delayed releasing documents that will prove Tinubu's involvement in drugs and narcotics to Atiku Abubakar. It was a deliberate attempt to frustrate the case. The document was released prior to the Supreme Court ruling. The Supreme Court refused to accept the document, citing that they won't accept new evidence. So I'm wondering why they are complaining now when they failed to aid the process that would have ended the whole madness. By the way, we don't need them to tell us what happened in Lagos. We know what happened in Lagos. We know that the election was rigged. We saw the violence that took place in Lagos. We saw the tribal war that was unleashed in our political system because Peter Obi attempted to contest the election. We saw how Igbos were attacked in Lagos because Gbadebo Roosevelt, a true Lagosian who had an Igbo mom, was tagged an IPOB. We equally saw how judges make mockery of our judicial process. We saw how illegality was legalized. But what we haven't seen is what the US, that claimed to be a custodian of democracy, do to those violating democratic principles. We haven't seen them come hard on democratic nations that have violated the constitution of the land the way we've seen them come on military leaders. By the way, we are yet to see their response to Chimamanda Adichie's letter that was written to Joe Biden. Chimamanda Adichie carefully outlined what happened in the election. And Adichie had questioned the US State Department's response in congratulating Tinubu and accepting the election result. American intelligence surely cannot be so inept. That was what she said. A little homework and they will know what is manifestly obvious to me and so many others. According to her, she said the process was impelled not by technical shortcoming but by deliberate manipulation. To Biden, Adichie writes, "You have spoken of the importance of a global community for democracy and the need to stand up for justice and the rule of law. A global community for democracy cannot thrive in the face of apathy from its most powerful member. Why would the United States, which prioritizes the rule of law, endorse a president-elect who has emerged from an unlawful process?" Adichie concludes, "Congratulating the election's outcome, President Biden tarnishes America's self-proclaimed commitment to democracy. Please do not give the sheen of legitimacy to an illegitimate process. The United States should be what he says it is." That was what Chimamanda Adichie wrote to the United States government. To date, they are yet to respond to that letter, and they are coming out to criticize the process 1 year after. Laughing, isn't it? Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.